Alrighty, so today I'm going to be drawing with a Zebra bLen 0.5 millimeter size pen for the first time, and I'm going to be giving it a full review as well. This pen was initially released in December of 2018 and is a collaboration between Zebra, the brand, and a Japanese-Canadian designer, Sato Oki in specific. And apparently this pen was designed to reduce vibration and noise while writing. Noisy pens are something I've always just dealt with, and so for a pen to be specifically marketed as being a very silent and quiet pen is something that, honestly, I really like. I really like that concept, and I'm looking forward to finding out just how good this pen actually is, and whether it's actually a very quiet writer or not. And since I've heard some better things than not about the Zebra bLen online, I certainly am expecting much better things than not, I will acknowledge. Although maybe not the best things in the world, as I've heard much better things about the gel counterpart of the Ballpoint Zebra bLen pens, and what I have with me today is a Ballpoint Zebra bLen. I bought this pen right here for $2.89 Canadian or $2 USD at the Pacific Mall in Canada, in Toronto in specific. But similar variants of this pen are sold on sites that ship to the United States. But I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and actually start going over the general look at the packaging and whatnot, show you guys all the details that are on it and everything like that kind of thing. Then after that, I do suppose I should probably go ahead and get the pen all out, go ahead and let you guys know what the pen looks like, what it feels like, what the quality is like, whether it's actually noisy or not, and just let you guys know just what the weight of it is like, what it feels like in hand, pretty much everything like that. Then after that, let's go ahead and actually get to drawing with this pen for the first time, get to writing with it for the first time, and find out just how bad this pen really is at drawing and writing. And then after that, let's go ahead and talk about my final thoughts on this pen, figure out whether I like it or not, and figure out whether I'd buy another one again. And then after that, I'm going to go and give it a rating as well. But first off, as said, we got to start with the packaging, which has a very nice sort of, I'd have to say, white and blue sort of color scheme to it. We can see there's a white background up here with the red Zebra logo right there. And then that white background just continues all the way around the packaging just like that. Right here, the background goes to a sort of, I'd have to say, light teal blue or a light sort of aqua blue, something like that. And then the plastic itself goes to clear, and you can see the pen right there. I'm not going to cover the look of the pen quite yet, as I'm going to wait to actually get it out of the packaging first off, but I will cover everything else that's going on the front of the packaging. Right here, we can see it just says bLen, bLen, right there, stylized in a very specific way. The B is lowercase, the L is uppercase, the E and the N are both lowercase once again, so it's bLen, with the L being the only uppercase one. And that's how it's stylized. There's some Japanese text under the bLen text right there. I did translate the front of this packaging just a little bit before this video, but I forgot to catch that text, so I don't know what that says. To the side of the pen right here, we just have a little bit of a circle that has a white background with black text on it. It just says 0.5 millimeter right there. And then under that, it just says black in Japanese. And then going down, it just says, I think something along the lines of like reduces vibration or something like that kind of thing, or reduces noise and vibration, something like that. Can't remember exactly what this says though. And then we can see there's some more Japanese text right here. I did not translate this text either. I completely accidentally missed it because when I was translating the text, the pen was like right here, so I just didn't even see that there was text right there. And now I'm just now noticing it, in all honesty. So I don't know what this text says either, but I'm sure it does say something. At the very bottom, there's some more Japanese text, all in black on that clear plastic. Don't know what that says. And it just says made in Japan right there, which is pretty nice. Some Zebra pens are made in China and some are made in Japan. So it is nice to have one that was made in Japan, especially for a decent price. I paid $2 for this, and $2 about average for the price for one of these pens right here. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start going over the back of the packaging, which is pretty much just informational. Once again, we get a white background and border going all the way around with blue in the center. And then we can see there's a bunch of information right here and everything like that. Basically just says like noise vibration and stuff like that. Just talks about how the pen cuts down noise vibration, I want to say right there. Then under that, I think it talks about like how to not use this pen probably. Then it talks about like what the size of the ink is and what it's going to look like. That's supposedly what it's going to look like. Then under that, there's a bunch of other stuff that I don't know what it says. I translated it. I cannot remember what it says though. Then under that, it just says that the only insert you want to use with this pen is the Zebra NC-0.5 ballpoint insert. And then under that, there is the barcode with the actual product code on it. It just says P-BAS88-BK. So that's the actual product code for this pen if you guys are interested. And then under that, it just has like some information, Zebra's website, phone number, call hours, where they're located in Japan, and it just has like how to throw this away and stuff like that kind of thing. And then just has WC right there. I don't know what that means though, I will admit. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the packaging. Overall, a very sort of, I'd have to say, futuristic yet minimalistic sort of piece of packaging. And I think that's very much what they're going for. The design of this pen is definitely a little bit different than some others, and I think they're really trying to go for the whole sort of minimalist look with this pen as a whole, so it makes sense for them to go for the sort of minimalist, futuristic sort of look with the packaging as well. And while it does still very much look like a piece of just store pen packaging or whatever, the design on the logo, the bLen logo in specific, does look a little bit more futuristic than not, in my personal opinion, and a little bit more minimalist than not as well. Overall, not a bad look for the packaging in my personal opinion. Not the best I've ever seen, but you know, pretty good, and it definitely does a good job of calling out to you in the store. I think the aesthetics are great, and I think the functionality is great as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this. I was about to say let's go and get this all opened up, but actually I want to go and grab myself a little bit of a screenshot real quick. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. See if I can grab myself a little bit of a screenshot just like that. Hopefully that will do as a screenshot. We will find out. Let's go and just do that as well, just so I can get a little bit of a different angle. And now that I have gotten two different angles for this thumbnail, for the screenshot, let's go and get this all opened up now. And let's go ahead and get the pen all out and take a look what this pen actually looks like, what it feels like, what the quality of it is like, and whatnot. Right off the bat, does make a little bit of noise. Does make a little bit of noise. It does. Now, granted, I was kind of throwing this pen just a little bit before this video, trying to get the video started. I threw this pen at the very beginning of the video. I did a couple of takes beforehand, so I did throw this pen just a little bit, but you know, there's a little bit of wiggling in there. A little bit of wiggling. A little bit of wiggling just like that as well. That's not very good. Now, this pen does take an insert. Just get it out just like that. Still wiggling. There's no way to really fix that just like that kind of thing. So the insert just comes out just like that, very easily. This is the Zebra NC 0.5 insert. It says Japan 2209 right there. It's not got a hole in the end for making sure that, well, there's a little bit of air and everything like that. And it just looks like a normal ballpoint insert, really nothing too interesting in all honesty. Pen just comes apart like that pretty easily. This is sort of a smoked clear plastic right here, I'd have to say. There's a little bit of sort of a sort of like nice grippy area down here. Some nice lines right there that kind of tell you where you're supposed to put your fingers and whatnot. This one has a little bit of a shiny aspect to it right there, but these other ones do not. So it seems that it's just every other line, and there's only 4 lines as a whole. So just 2 out of the 4 lines have a little bit of a shiny aspect right here, which does make it a little bit interesting. Then it goes back to a little bit of like a smoked clear plastic right there. Interesting, interesting. Let's go and put this back together just real quick. And the spring is down towards the bottom. You know, this rattling around, it might have been due to me throwing it around a little bit, but either way, still a little bit disappointing. Still a little bit disappointing. Let's go and take a look at the rest of the pen. Little bit rattly. Little bit rattly. Yeah, a little bit rattly. So we can see right here, this goes from right where it kind of breaks apart for you to unscrew it. It goes from a sort of like silicon, grippy, sort of matte, sort of very nice sort of silicon sort of feeling, I definitely have to say, to just a sort of like flat, shiny, just cheap plastic, I definitely have to say. Just says Japan right there. And then above that, all the way at the top right here, it just says bLen right there, just stylized like the bLen logo was on the front of the packaging. Going over to the other side, we can see that the clip itself is kind of like right here, and it just kind of folds down all the way like that. So kind of goes all the way to the top and the back, and then it kind of goes around and stretches all the way down and back up. And we can see that this area right here, the area that gets pressed in and whatnot, is actually a sort of smoked gray, not clear, but just sort of a smoky, sort of a dark gray, I definitely have to say. And then the actual cap itself up here is back to that sort of black plastic. On the very top, it just says 0.5 zebra right there in gray. And that's the overall pretty much the overall look of this pen. Overall, it's definitely much more minimalist than not. It looks really nice as well. It's definitely like when compared to something like, let's say, oh man, I'd have to say like, I'm just looking like, when compared to like a Sharpie S Gel. This definitely looks better than a Sharpie S Gel, frankly, but I'm like, it looks really good when compared to Sharpie S Gel, if you ask me at least. It's a much more beautiful design. And like same when compared to like, let's say a Zebra Tappy Clip or something like that, or like, let's say a Zebra Fuente. It's just a much better looking pen. And in my personal opinion, I don't know if they sell this pen at stores in the United States. I kind of doubt they do. But in my personal opinion, if there was a pen that was going to compete with this one in the United States, it would be this one, the Uniball Zento. And this pen is meant to be sort of like a minimalist sort of design and everything like that kind of thing. Looks a little bit more minimalist than not. The design languages are definitely not too different. I definitely have to say, like, it's definitely a different looking pen for sure. But the design language himself, the whole minimalist sort of idea is not too different. If this was black, they would look a lot more similar. But, you know, the sort of design ideas are definitely a little bit similar, although there's less rattling from this one than from this one. So the whole idea with this pen being a no rattle thing, it's rattling. Points off just immediately right there, y'all. Points off just immediately right there. It says no rattle, no vibration. And what is it doing? It is rattling. I don't like that. Maybe it's because I threw it. I handle my pens roughly. Even if I hadn't thrown it at the beginning of this video, and for a couple takes before this video as well, like probably like 5 or 6 takes, I handle my pens roughly. I drop them, stuff like that. If I drop this pen and it starts making noise, man, that's just not good kind of thing. That's just not good, and that's exactly what's going on right here. Good looking pen. It really does look very nice. It's a very nice sort of minimalist, slightly futuristic design that I like more so than not, but it does make noise. It does make noise. How well does the clip work, though? Does the clip work pretty well when you put it in your shirt? Let's test it out. Oh, yeah, no, it works pretty good. Just tested it out in my shirt. I've just got a breast pocket in my shirt, and, you know, it works. Just slides right in. Slides right in very easily. Yeah, no, the clip itself works very well, if I do say so myself. It's not something I mind by any means. Well, I do suppose, let's go ahead and actually just hold this pen normally. And in hand, it feels very comfortable. It feels really nice. This sort of silicone right here is super nice in hand. It's really easy to just kind of hold it, like you can hold it up here, you can hold it down here. I prefer to kind of hold my pens right here, and so there's silicone going all the way down to this plastic right here. That feels really nice in hand. I'd have to say this pen is definitely more front heavy than back heavy. That's one thing that I saw as an advertising feature of this pen, quote unquote, is that supposedly it is more front heavy than not, and I can confirm that this pen is definitely more front heavy than back heavy. Just doing that, it's definitely even more front heavy now. It's definitely not like only front heavy. You can definitely still feel the weight on the back, but it's definitely more front heavy than not. Feels pretty nice in hand. I think that this pen is definitely going to be good for writing and drawing, just because it is more front heavy rather than being sort of like in the middle, or rather than being in the back. So the weight of this pen is really nice. It does have a very nice weight to it that I do appreciate more so than not. And overall, the thickness of the pen feels really nice in my hand. This is definitely not a super thin pen by any means, like let's say this Uniball Signo. I mean, like, look how thin this pen is when compared to that. I'm like, it's thin. This pen is too thin for my hands personally. This one is about right. It's a very nice size for my hand, I will admit. I could go for a little bit thicker in all honesty, but I like it. I like it. Fits very well in my hand. The black plastic right here, I actually like that this is plastic, just because it slides back and forth in the palm of my hand right here very nicely, or in kind of in the root of my thumb. I guess palm of my hand. This is the palm of my hand, but the kind of like the root of my thumb right here. I don't know what the right way to put this is, what the right thing to call this is, but slides around pretty nicely, very, very smoothly, very nice to kind of slide in and out. Overall, this pen feels pretty nice in hand, and I really do like the fact that it is weighted much more towards the front than towards the back. But those are just kind of my general impressions of the pen right off the bat. I don't know how good this pen actually draws or writes. So let's go ahead and grab my Soho Urban Artist Sketchbook that I have right here. And let's go ahead and just bring my tripod up just a little bit and get this all opened up to the nearest open page. And now that I have done that, let's go ahead and just get that centered. Let's go press that down. Still making some noise. And let's go ahead and just get to doodling and drawing. I'm just going to warm up the pen real quick. Not the smoothest I've ever had on paper. Not horrible by any means either. The black itself is more distinct than not. It's not a super light black by any means, but it's definitely not the blackest black I've ever seen. Does sketchy designs pretty well. Layers pretty well as well. When you're layering, the black gets a little bit darker than not, but still not the darkest. When compared to a gel pen like, let's say, a Pilot G2 or a Sharpie S-Gel or a Uniball Zento, is definitely a little bit lighter, but this is definitely darker than something like, let's say, a Zebra Tapley Clip or some other pens I've tried in the past. But definitely not the darkest ink I've ever seen. And while it doesn't really fade too much by any means, like this is still right about the same darkness as it was when it came out, it's just not very dark to begin with, frankly. But I'm like, it is dark. Like, don't get me wrong, just looking at it, I'm like, it's definitely black. It's not, like, let's say, taking a look with the Zebra Tapley Clip. Where did I put it? This pen, just go all the way to the back. Just like that, me like that. Versus that. It's not that big of a difference, but when compared to like something like, let's say, this, like, this is a G2, that is super black. Now, granted, this is a 0.7. I don't have a 0.5 black gel pen with me right now, but this is a 0.7 black. This is the Zebra bLen, and this is the Tapley Clip. We can see this is definitely a little bit lighter. This is a little bit darker. This is the darkest. So this is definitely not the darkest black ever. Even with this being a 0.7, even if this exact same cartridge and ink was used in a 0.7 format, it still would not be the darkest ink ever. So do not buy the 0.5 bLen thinking it will be a super dark black, because it will not be. As a whole, though, it feels decently nice when you're on the paper. I definitely have to say, I don't mind it at all when you're just kind of drawing just a little bit kind of thing. Let's do a little bit more of a design kind of thing. Just like that. And overall, I mean, like, in my personal opinion, it feels a little bit smoother than not on paper. It's definitely not the smoothest I've ever had. For a 0.5 millimeter size pen, I think it's about average. It's not super smooth. It's not super rough. It's not bad. It's about average. When you're actually writing, though, does it make any noise? Let's give it a shot. I'd have to say, when you're actually writing and whatnot, it doesn't really make any noise. There's a little bit sometimes when you're a little bit rough with it and whatnot, like with the Joe designs up here. I was definitely a little bit rough, and I just heard like a little ting every once in a while, just once or twice. But when you're actually writing with this pen, it really doesn't make much design. It's definitely not the quietest pen I've ever used. There's definitely quieter ones out there. So the whole advertising point with this pen being quiet, it's kind of a gimmick. It's not really quiet. But, you know, it's not loud either. It's definitely a lot quieter than something like, let's say, this pen right here, which, like, listen to that, y'all. That is just all sorts of crackly and it makes so much noise. This is a Bic. This is a Bic multi-pen. It makes so much noise. This pen definitely makes a lot less noise than that pen, but that's also like the noisiest pen I own. But, you know, yeah, it's not bad. My impressions of this pen right off the bat are just that it's average. It's not as good as a Pilot G2. It's not as good as a Uniball Zento. It's not as good. I'm like, granted, I'm comparing. It's kind of apples to oranges because I am comparing it to gel pens. When compared to, like, let's say a Zebra Star Asa, let's just go ahead and just kind of get this opened up. Like, just smoothness-wise. When compared to a Zebra Star Asa, it's definitely smoother. So for a 0.5 millimeter size ballpoint pen, it is smoother than not, for sure. But when compared to a lot of the pens I'm used to, it's not super smooth by any means. It's smoother than not, but not the smoothest. And it does make some noise on paper as well. But nothing to any extreme degree. You know, for a 0.5 size ballpoint pen, you know, it's not super loud or scratchy. Definitely less scratchy and rough than the Zebra tablet clip I've got right here. So, you know, I can't complain too much. It's just average. The ink is dark. It's not super dark. It's not super rough. It's also not super smooth. It's not noise-free, but it's not noisy either. It's pretty much running the mid-road all the way through. Frankly put, that's really what this pen right here is doing. Let's go ahead and do a actual drawing of this pen. Let's draw a little bit of a fish. And I'm just going to start off with the jaw. Now, one thing I'm noticing with this pen, you do get a little bit of a splot at the very beginning of your line, and then after that, it kind of smooths out just a little bit. Not the best fish I've ever drawn, but it'll do. A little bit of, it's kind of gone out for a second on me. That's not very good. Come on, you can do it. All right, let's try something else. It's not liking that specific area of the page. There we go, got it. I don't know what the deal was. Kind of went out just for a second on me. The ink also, that was there. The ink does not, my phone is now on 10%. Hopefully it'll be okay for the end of this, till the end of this video. The ink does not dry very fast. I'm going to do a full test on that in just a minute, but it does not appear that the ink dries very fast. Let's do a full test on how fast the ink dries, though, just real quick on this piece of paper. So, just like that. Yeah, especially where the splotch is right there. Not very good. You know, that's not bad, though. So, it just seems like where the splotch is. So, it can smear, but it just kind of depends on the scenario, it seems. Like, you just got one line, splotch on the end will smear, the rest of it won't, though. Yeah, so just at the splotch it'll smear. You got to be a little bit careful with smearing. This pen does leave splotches. That is one thing to keep in mind. Overall, my impressions of this pen, they're okay. This pen was pretty hyped up online. I did a little bit of research on it before this video. It was kind of hyped up online. I was kind of hoping better things. Just maybe the 0.7 gel or 0.5 black is a lot better. I'm not very impressed with the ballpoint, though. It's just okay. It's usable. I'll use the rest of it for sure, but it's just okay. Let's go ahead and continue going over this, though. This drawing is not done yet, though. From an angle, the pen works okay, but it definitely works best kind of almost straight up and down. And you can definitely tell that very easily. See what the max angle you can do. So you can do it from this angle, but the black is definitely much lighter than not when you do that. It really does prefer being almost straight up and down, sort of this angle or more straight up and down than that. So definitely this is not a pen to use at an angle. I definitely do think that this pen is probably more meant for writing than drawing. It just comes across like that more so than not, but I don't think it's horrible for drawing by any means, but I do think there are better alternatives out there. I gotta take off my watch though. I wear my watch in my dominant hand, and it is not the greatest when drawing, sometimes I will acknowledge. It gives you can get a little bit of a scratchy look to it, to your drawing by using this pen, but there's other pens that are better for that as well. The ink itself is not super dark, not super distinct. It doesn't really build on itself the best. I mean, like, it does an okay job. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of mid. Kind of my general impressions of this pen. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but yeah, it's just kind of mid. Yeah. Like, it really all comes down to the insert, but I mean, like, I like the look of this pen. I think the pen looks beautiful. I think it's a beautiful looking pen, especially for something that is meant to be like semi-disposable. But it's just kind of mid, if you ask me. That's kind of my impressions of it. It's kind of a mid pen as a whole. It's okay. Not bad. Not great either. Just kind of mid. Maybe I'm being controversial by saying that. I don't know, but I'm saying it nonetheless. This is the ballpoint variant. I have heard better things about the gel variant, though, so if you guys have tried the gel variant, let me know in the comments down below how it is. But I haven't tried the gel. I was about to say ballpoint, but no, this is the ballpoint. I haven't tried the gel variant, so I can't comment on it. But yeah, I can say I don't think I like the ballpoint variant very much. I think the layer's okay though. I'm like, it's not horrible. Gives you an okay look for your drawings, but yeah, meh. I don't know. Meh. It's okay. It is comfortable in hand. My hand is not feeling any sort of fatigue though, I will admit. And this pen is big enough for my hand personally where I don't feel the need to grip it super tightly, which is definitely helping with the fatigue. So it is a very ergonomic pen, especially with the weight of it being more towards the front. It's nice. That is one thing I do like about this pen. I do like the ergonomics of this pen. The thickness of it is really nice. Just how it feels in hand is really nice as a whole. But that's really the main thing. I like the look of this pen, and I like the ergonomics of it. That's the two main things I like about this pen. Alrighty. Well, I think I'm just going to clean up a little bit, and then that's going to be the drawing right there. As a whole, this fish drawing is okay. It's not my best I've ever done by any means, but it's okay by any means. Or it's okay by all means, I suppose, is really the right way of putting it. It's meh. Not the best drawing I've ever done. Meh. It's okay. Well, now that I've drawn an actual drawing, what are my final thoughts on the Zebra bLen 0.5 millimeter sized ballpoint pen? What do I think of it? Well, I think the packaging, you know, pretty nice, sort of a minimalistic, futuristic look. Not bad. The look of the pen itself, I think it's gorgeous. I think this pen looks really nice. I think it's a very gorgeous look for the pen. I do really like it. Does have some rattles, but it feels really nice in hand, I'll acknowledge. It also doesn't feel bad while drawing by any means, you know? It's smoother than some other pens, not the smoothest though. Feels really nice in hand, as said. The weight is nice. The darkness of the ink, it's not the darkest I've ever seen. It's also not the lightest I've ever seen. I mean, like, it's okay. The two main things I really like about this pen really are just how it looks. I really like how this pen looks, and I really like how it feels in hand. It is so dang comfortable in hand. I don't feel the need to hold it too hard. It's very ergonomic. I like it, and I really like the weight as well. I like the weight, I like the look, and I like how it feels in my hand in general. Those are the three things I really like about this pen. Other than that, it's just kind of mid, if you ask me at least. The ink darkness is very much mid. It's very much medium. It's not the lightest, not the darkest. Roughness on page, you know, it's smoother than some other pens. It's also rougher than some others as well. It does make a little bit of noise when the gimmick of this pen is the fact that it's not supposed to make noise. My overall kind of thoughts on this pen is just kind of mid. That's kind of what I think about this pen. Now, my opinion may change if I try one of the, let's say, gel inserts or something like that, or if I try one of the gel versions of this pen. But for the ballpoint version, I think it's just mid. It's a beautiful looking pen, feels great in hand, but when it actually comes to writing and drawing, it doesn't really deliver. It smears a little bit. It has splotches as well. It just doesn't really deliver. Would I buy another one of these pens? No, I wouldn't. Maybe the gel version, but not the ballpoint. I would definitely not buy the ballpoint again. It's just a very mid pen, if you ask me. I would much rather use a Zebra Tapley Clip, frankly put. I really would much rather use this pen because actually I kind of like the look of the ink even more. Even more than the look of this ink, even though it's a lighter ink. It's rougher on the paper, but it's just different. It's different than other pens. This is like trying to be other pens, but failing in a lot of the categories. And that's just kind of how it is, frankly put. It's okay. This pen is mid. It's just kind of what it is in my personal opinion. Would I buy this pen again? No. Would I buy the gel version? Maybe. But I definitely would not buy the ballpoint version again. It's okay. I would not buy this pen again. But I'm definitely going to enjoy using it for the rest of the time I have it. I have faith that I will. But, it's just okay. What's the rating I'm thinking for this pen, though? The Zebra bLen 0.5 millimeter size ballpoint pen? 2 out of 4. Not the worst pen I've ever used. Definitely not horrible by any means. But not really deserving of a 3 out of 4. I mean, like, there's aspects of it that I like, but there's just better pens out there. There really are better pens out there. And for the same price as well, if not cheaper. Yeah, you know, I'm going to have to say, it's like a high 2 out of 4. It's not a low 2 out of 4. It's just a pen I wouldn't buy again, so I can't say that it's a 3 out of 4. Because my rating scale goes from 1 to 4, with 1 being like, this is horrible, never buy this. 2 being like, you know, it's okay, I wouldn't buy it again, but some people might like it. A 3 out of 4 is like, you know, this is pretty good, but it's not like the best thing ever. A 4 out of 4 is like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. A 4 out of 4 is like, for me, like a Pilot G2 0.7, or the Uniball Zento, I think is just about a 4 out of 4 as well. The 3 out of 4 is like, for me, the Zebra Sarasa, or the Tappy Clip that I have right here. Those are like 3 out of 4s for me. A 2 out of 4 is like this pen, and a 1 out of 4 is like this, because this pen sucks, frankly put. You know, I'll use this pen more in the future. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I won't mind using it, but it's a 2 out of 4. It's a very mid pen, if you ask me. While it is beautiful, it's just okay. That's kind of my personal take on this pen. Let me know in the comments down below, though, what y'all's thoughts are on the Zebra bLen pen. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not? Let me know in the comments down below. And, of course, also make sure to, well, like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, and my second channel all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But, you know, certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching me draw with a Zebra bLen 0.5mm size ballpoint pen for the first time today, and give it a review as well. To the next one, stay safe and peace, and have a great one. Yes, sir, and I'm saying.